Welcome, I'm Iris Tao. On June 5th, victims of the NCF Group scam protested in front of the Xinhua Center in Shanghai. They were violently dispersed by the police. Backed by many C.C.P officials, NCF Group, a subsidiary of China's UCF Holdings Group, remains scot-free, even though the fraud bite more than $10 billion from investors. Investors from all over the country have been trying to take legal action, yet no police authority is willing to file a case.
It's been nearly a year since China's UCF Holdings Group's subsidiary NCF Group was found to have defrauded 170,000 investors across the country of 75 billion yuan or $10.6 billion US dollars. However, local police have yet to file the case. On June 5th, hundreds of investors defending their rights at the entrance of the Xinhua Center in Xujiahui, Shanghai, were violently dispersed by the police. A number of defenders in their 60s were arrested and taken to the police station to make statements. On May 26th, victimized investors of the NCF Group gathered in front of the Shanghai Public Security Bureau to defend their rights, but were instead dispersed by police. On June 5th, hundreds of angry victimized investors gathered again in front of the Xinhua Center in Xujiahui, Shanghai, in the drizzling rain. They displayed a banner that read, "Repay your debts, Xinhua is responsible," and shouted, "UCF Group are scammers, NCF Group is responsible." There were victims' signatures all over the banner. Dozens of police officers arrived at the scene to drive away the crowd. An elderly man was deliberately pushed by the police near the entrance of a subway station, then violently dragged into a police car. Many elderly people were also arrested and taken to the Xujiahui police station to make statements.
We've been defending our rights, and we've been suppressed. We've been to the police station, we've written letters, and we've even been to the scene to campaign for our rights. However, no case has been filed yet, nor has a definite response been given to us. In Shanghai, there are investors defending their rights quite strongly. They started last year at the end of July, and it's been almost a year now. Some people committed suicide as a result. Some got divorced, and some became depressed.
The UCF Group and its NCF online finance platform are legally licensed, supported by government officials, and are backed by the CCTV, a state media mouthpiece. Zhang Zhenxin, 48, chairman of the UCF Group and the person in control of the NCF Group, died in London on September 18, 2019. Some investors suspect he faked his death and took the money he scammed abroad.
We've invested all our pension money. We can't live anymore. The government harms its own people, sending vast amounts of resources on foreign countries, while persecuting its own people, ripping us off and going back on its word. The financial sector is derelict in its duty. Instead, it's cracking down on human rights defenders. A country with no integrity is so disappointing. Many elderly people were so angry that they were hospitalized. Some had brain strokes. Some had brain bleeds. Some had depression, anxiety, and insomnia.
The investors were told the more they invested in the NCF, the higher the interest rate would be, so many investors pooled money from their whole family to invest, including money from marriages, real estate, and retirement. Following the fraud scandal, their entire families faced difficulties with basic living.
The northeastern region of China is poor, and investors invest less, just a few thousand yuan. Some who invest more would perhaps invest a few 100,000 yuan, or even a million or 800,000 yuan. Unlike in the south, in Shanghai or Shenzhen, I've heard that some have even invested hundreds of millions or 10 million yuan. The police would only make a record, but not file a case. The public security authorities around the country all look to Beijing to set the tone. What tones Beijing set will determine what executions they can make.
A victim investor who was diagnosed with a malignant tumor this year and is in desperate need of money for treatment left an online death note saying that she had lent 360,000 yuan or $3,322 of her life savings to the NCF Group. She had reported her case in Jiangyin, Wuxi, Shanghai, and Beijing, but no one had filed her case, and there was no way to lodge her complaints. She reported the case to the public security authorities and appealed to the government, but was put under police surveillance and lost her personal freedom. She said she wants to live and see what happens to the scammers. She said that if one day she will die with honor.
Attempting to promote its image, the Chinese Communist Party launched mass diplomacy. Large quantities of masks were exported overseas. However, quality complaints soon followed. Many countries halted delivery of these poor quality masks and demanded refunds. Since overseas orders dropped drastically, the price of raw materials for face masks has plunged 90% in China.
In the wake of the global C.C.P. virus pandemic, the Chinese Communist Party has attempted to enhance its international image by exporting large quantities of masks to overseas countries. But the poor quality of the masks was exposed along with demands to return the products. Presently, overseas orders have decreased tremendously, causing the price of raw materials such as non-woven fabric, which was once in high demand, to also decrease drastically. Chinese media security Times, STCN, claimed in an article that recently in China, the price of low-quality non-woven fabric has decreased from 450,000 yuan, $63,700 USD, to 2,000 yuan, $280 USD, per ton, and the price of high-quality non-woven fabric has also dropped from 650,000 yuan, $92,000 USD, to 400,000 yuan, $56,600 USD, per ton in just 6 days. STCN interviewed Ms. Xu, an investor in mass production in Yangzhong City, Jiangsu Province, China, and she indicated that the manufacturing machine for non-woven fabric was sold for 12,000 yuan, $1,700 USD, per unit before the epidemic. The price per unit increased to 30,000 yuan, $4,200 USD, after the outbreak, and it once reached the peak of 150,000 yuan, $21,200 USD, per unit. However, this crazy price increase only continued until April 15th, when the government suddenly decided to seize all production of the non-woven fabric. Ms. Su revealed that there were rumors about a total of 5,000 machines in Yangzhong City at that time, and many people lost money because the government suddenly seized the production altogether. The non-woven fabric was once sold for 450,000 yuan, $63,700 USD, but suddenly it was worth only 2,000 yuan, $280 USD. Now, even the production machines are sold for just 10,000 yuan, $1,400 USD, but nobody wants to buy them. The machines are now sold as metal scrap.
I own the largest mask production plant in Shanghai City, but the masks don't sell well now. If you want to export masks now, the production cost is pretty low right now because the selling price has decreased drastically. It's sold for about a little over 10 cents per mask. Since the domestic market has been saturated, the demand for masks is not as high as before, so the price has been declining.
The factory owner further indicated to NTD that the exports of masks have been decreasing non-stop.
Some time ago, the customs were very strict and detained a lot of masks, so the export volume was very, very little. It was not very good, but depends on how you export the masks. We have a lot of masks here sold for a little over 10 cents. Owners from Zhejiang Province and Shandong Province collected the masks and later exported them.
Another person in charge of a mask manufacturing business in Hunan also told the media that, before April, any quality of non-woven fabric could be sold for more than 400,000 yuan, $56,600 USD, but not anymore. Public information reveals that there are 3 levels of filtering efficiency of non-woven fabric, namely 90, 95, and 99. Which are able to filter 90%, 95%, and 99% of non-oily particles respectively. The non-woven fabrics that are above the 95 level are considered to have met the standard. Anything below 80 level is basically junk. Nevertheless, many netizens exposed the fact that many non-woven fabrics below 80 level have been sold for 400,000 yuan, $56,600 USD, to 500,000 yuan, $70,700 USD, per ton during the pandemic. The masks were scarce in the domestic market, and no one cared about the quality and standards. Right now, the wholesale price of the cheapest non-woven fabric is only 13 cents, 2 cents USD, and there are suppliers who simply give the fabric to clients for free.
Integrity is the foundation of business, but the mask businesses under the system of the Chinese Communist regime have no quality control. When importers found out that these masks are below standards, they won't be willing to use them because this is medical equipment that endangers the safety of life. Before, when the world was in high demand of masks, you could increase the price because you had lots of them. But when you lied to the world, How could you expect others to repurchase your masks? As a result, the price plummeted.
Previously, TechPlanet, a subsidiary of China's tech media, interviewed a mask export middleman, Chen Guohua, who exposed many disruptions in mask production in China. These disruptions include uncertified mask manufacturing plants profiteering and 60% of mask factories in the market that have no sterility control.
The Chinese government has never complied with these international regulations, whether in the past or at present, so I think the CCP will never rebuild mask businesses or medical supplies businesses, and no one will ever purchase these unqualified masks. In fact, Western countries are trying to decouple from the CCP, not just in the area of medical supplies. Of course, the economy in China is declining massively, and eventually China will be locked out and no one will want to deal with them.
Outsider analysis indicated that the CCP's mask diplomacy has been a complete failure, which in turn has accelerated the bankruptcy of mask manufacturers. And the problems extended by the pandemic have led the world to recognize the truth about the Chinese Communist Party and speed up its disengagement.
The Chinese yuan has been plummeting for 16 days straight, which would put a major strain on China's entire economy. In addition, Chinese international trade has weakened as compared to 2019. Ever since the CCP virus pandemic spread around the world, China's industrial firms' profits have slumped about 30% between the month of January and April.
Compared to a basket of other currencies, the Chinese yuan is falling fast. It has been dropping for a record 16 days straight, the longest run since the currency basket was created 5 years ago. It has now fallen 4% against the euro and Australian dollar. The yuan has also been falling against the dollar, but has stopped recently. In late May, rising tensions with the US contributed to the yuan falling to near its lowest level since 2008's financial crisis, and factors such as the Hong Kong protests and the US-China trade deal could increase the value of the American dollar again, pushing the yuan even lower. If the Chinese yuan continues to fall, it will put a major strain on China's entire economy. Chinese international trade is also weakening. In May, exports fell about 3% and imports plummeted about 17% compared to last year. This is the biggest drop in 4 years. A large portion of China's workforce are in the export industry, but the majority of the international orders were canceled during the pandemic. Official data shows profits of China's industrial firms fell almost 30% between January and April.
This month, heavy rainfall in 11 provinces in southern China have caused major damages and flooded many areas. Floods and landslides destroyed many homes, roads, and crops. However, local residents have not received any help from the regime. Residents said the Chinese regime has done nothing to relieve the situation. At the same time, C.C.P. state-run media did not report on any of these calamities.
Severe weather in China has wreaked havoc in the northern and southern areas since the start of June. 11 southern districts have been inundated by floodwaters as heavy rainfall continues, affecting more than 2.6 million people. Meanwhile, the northern districts are experiencing high temperatures. China's state media reported on June 10 that the flooding has caused more than a dozen deaths and forced hundreds of thousands of people from their homes in South and Central China, but residents say the numbers could be higher. Locals in the affected areas criticized the authorities for not doing enough. They said the authorities did not send any relief efforts, and the state-run media covered up the severity of the situation. In southern China, waters in 110 rivers have overflowed due to heavy rainfall. 11 provinces, including Fujian, Guangdong, Guangxi, and Hunan, saw the most damage, including flooded streets, collapsed houses and roads, landslides, and damaged crops. A Chinese netizen posted on Twitter, "Hunan has never received such a heavy rainstorm in 50 years. It continued for 4 days and 4 nights straight. There are too many unusual phenomena this year. The Chinese people are suffering even more." A video of the rainstorm was included in the Twitter post in which a man shouted, "Enough rain, enough rain, enough rain, enough rain." Mr. Kuo, a resident from Zhuzhou City, Hunan Province, was concerned about the floodwaters.
There was a huge rainstorm here in Zhuzhou City, and many places have been flooded, but state-run media did not report about it. Right now, the media only reports the good stories, not the bad ones. Xiang River is close to Yangtze River, and when heavy rain falls, the area downstream of Xiang River gets flooded. It happened last year. I live on the side of the Xiang River, and its water has gone up a lot, but not as much as last year.
Since early June, heavy rainstorms had hit Guangxi province, causing Qingxitan Reservoir, the largest reservoir in the area, to overflow. This flooded the entire Yangshuo County downstream, causing road closures and power outages in many neighborhoods. Residents did not have internet nor running water. Mr. Wang from Guilin City indicated that other places in Guangxi, such as Lipu City, Yangshuo County, and Pingle County, were also hit hard by the storm. He criticized the local authorities for publishing a total of 9 deaths and believes they are lying about the actual number of deaths.
The overflowing of reservoirs is definitely a huge problem and causes a big flood. Every year, people die of floods like this. The number of deaths and damaged properties are enormous, but it is not reported on TV. No one comes to the rescue. They, authorities, seem to be blind and deaf to the sufferings of the Chinese citizens. The sewer system of a city represents the conscience of the government. They did not build it well.
Guangdong province was also heavily impacted by floods. In Shaoguan City, heavy rainfall began on June 8th and lasted for a day, causing Mengzhuo Reservoir to overflow. At about 6 a.m. on June 9th, landslides occurred near Shaoguan Baizhu Power Station, damaging the pressure tube of the power station and disrupting travel in some parts of the G323 highway.
The flood covered a large area. Many vehicles were underwater and many houses collapsed. The sewage system definitely has problems because this happens every single year. The government has done nothing and has no solutions at all. We don't see reports on the flooding, not to mention having relief efforts. The death of the guy, George Floyd, in the United States received a lot of coverage in the media, but nobody reports on any of the deaths of the Chinese people caused by the flooding.
While floodwaters inundated the south, many northern provinces, including North China, Huanghai area, Shanxi, northeast China, and Inner Mongolia, are experiencing the highest temperatures recorded for this year since June 2nd. The weather forecast indicated that high temperatures will stick around and will continue to rise over 40 degrees Celsius. The high temperature will remain blisteringly dry, with surface temperatures between 50 to 60 degrees Celsius in the afternoon, with local areas exceeding 70 degrees Celsius.
The Chinese Communist Party's cover-up led to a pandemic that now threatens the lives of people around the globe. With over 7 million people infected, China is still defensive about independent international inquiry into the origin and the spread of the C.C.P. virus. The Epoch Times has initiated a global Sign the Petition campaign calling for investigating, condemning, and rejecting the C.C.P. We believe that investigating and exposing the truth is the only way that we can remain safe. Let's take action. Sign the petition at rejectccp.com. That's all for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this program with friends and family to keep them informed about the latest news and updates. Thank you for joining me. See you next time.